In early 2016, I purchased a USA Prospector's Miller table through Amazon for $99. At that time, that was less than half the price of its closest competitor. With the exception of having to plug the pump into the feeder tube underneath the green table, the unit came completely assembled. All I had to do is add water and plug it in. Literally 5 minutes after unboxing it, I was running concentrates through it, and most of that time was spent filling up the basin. I immediately started finding fine gold smaller than 100 mesh. Since then, I've run several pounds of material through it and found it to be a very reliable unit, which I would recommend to anyone. I'm going to mention a few modifications I've made, which do not improve its performance, but do make it a little bit more convenient for the particular way in which I use the table. The first thing I did was use aluminum foil tape to cover over the 2 holes for the catch vials underneath the table. I then filled in the back of the holes with hot glue. This is a personal preference. A lot of people like these. I don't, because the holes will disturb the flow going down the table, and I've also had some experience with the threads not sealing tightly so that they leak and carry some of the finer gold with them. Next, I added 2 wire supports to hold a small plastic basin to catch the heavies as they come off of the table before going into the main reservoir. One of the reasons I do this is so that the water doesn't fall far from the end of the table onto the surface of the water here, so it doesn't make so much of a gurgling noise. The gentle stream-like sound of a Miller table running can be relaxing, but if you're working at one for an hour or 2 hours, it can get to be a little annoying. Another thing I do to reduce the sound is to increase the level of the water almost to the very top, so that as it falls out of this catch basin, it again doesn't create a gurgling noise. Now, to do that, I had to use some hot glue to seal up the 4 holes that held the handles. As the material comes off the table, it falls into this catch basin. It's tilted slightly this way so it spills out over this end and into the main basin. What goes down underneath are the middleweight and lightweight particles. To keep them from drifting back to where the pump is, I added a small 1/2-inch high dam of hot glue, and this keeps most of the lighter material in this area. Because the pump is designed to rest on the bottom of the larger basin, it tends to pick up any dirt that's gotten into the lower basin and recycle it up into the table. After an hour's use, you start getting grit coming out through the feed line of the table, and it doesn't affect performance, but it's a little annoying. What I did is I cut the plastic tube in half so that now the pump actually hangs suspended in the water and is about 2 inches above the floor of the large basin, so it doesn't come in contact with the material on the bottom, and it greatly reduces the amount of dirt being recirculated. The amount of water the pump puts out is determined by this valve that's completely open, and that's supposed to be completely closed. I found in actual operation there was practically no difference between these 2 positions, and the reason is that the water, when it's completely closed, is pulled in through the cracks on the side and even through the 4 holes that hold the suction cup feet. Well, since this is now suspended in the water, I don't need the suction cup feet, so again I used aluminum foil tape to seal all of this off, and now this valve shuts the flow down from maximum to about 40%. The unit is so compact, I usually set it up on the kitchen counter right next to the sink. This makes it easy to fill and just as easy to clean up. The green surface has a slightly rippled appearance, which I found works better at capturing gold as well as releasing black sands quickly than any other of 5 surfaces that I tested and compared it to. In one test, I repanned the heavies the table passed, and I only found 2 or maybe 3 sub 200 mesh flakes of gold, and these probably got by because I wasn't paying attention, not because the table didn't catch them. So I have good confidence that this table will catch virtually all the gold that you pass through it. In conclusion, I found this to be an easy-to-use, reliable machine that is effective at catching gold. I've had a lot of fun with it, and I would recommend it to anyone. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it useful.